Hi, Eugene. Hi, Nadal. Welcome back.
Hello. Mhm.
Hi, Tanzil.
Hi.
Hi,
Uh,
Tanzil. How are you?
yeah, I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Fine.
Good,
Good.
good.
So today we'll be discussing something that is really, really close to us. We'll be exploring how robotics and artificial intelligence, being the buzzword at the moment globally, are becoming two powerful tools for education, helping young people learn technology through hands-on experience. Um, Today, this is for our audience. Today, we are joined by two people working at the forefront of this movement. I'll explain a little bit on this topic. First, we have Joan Nadal, Director of Innovation, working with UNESCO missions and the founder behind the educational robotics platform E3bot. Joan has spent the past several years working across more than 25 countries, teaching practical AI, robotics, and digital fabrication to students and communities. We are also joined by Eugene Masinde, founding partner at E3bot, who has been leading efforts to expand AI and robotics education across Africa, training educators and students through workshops and hands-on programs. Um, I am Tanzil Kamal, and I'm the head of marketing and sales. And in my capacity, uh, I look after marketing and try to be nice to our clients and so on.
Mhm.
So at Kaz Software, I represent Kaz Software. We have had the opportunity to collaborate on this initiative by building an AI-based application that allows children to interact with the E3bot robot through voice commands, helping them experience robotics and AI firsthand. So today we will talk about the idea behind E3bot, the impact these tools are having in classrooms around the world, and what the future of AI and STEM education might look like. Joan and Eugene, it's great to have you both with us.
Pleasure to
Thank
be
you.
here.
Pleasure to
Thank
be
you.
here. Very happy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Joan, I would love to start with you. You've spent years working across multiple countries teaching robotics, AI, and digital fabrication. Many people working in technologies stay within industry, but you chose to focus on education and accessibility. What inspired you to dedicate your work to making these technologies accessible to young people and communities around the world?
Yeah, well, it all started, my background is in industrial design, so I'm an industrial designer. And 7 years ago, I had a daughter, a little daughter. Now she's 7. So, but when she was born, it was the beginning of artificial intelligence. Robotics were really coming very strong. And also with my background with education, I wanted to create a tool for her to learn about the skills that I thought at that time would be essential in the future. And of course, robotics and rapid prototyping, like 3D printing, things like that, were involved with that. And I look at the market, what kind of educational robots we could find. And I saw that there was something missing, something that was accessible for people who are not like engineers or very uh, interested in things like coding and things like that, but something that has to be accessible. And for me, because I didn't know anything about coding and all that, so I started to look at the maker community and see how people were building things, and I drove the things into educational tools. And that's how I created an educational robot, which was based with a phone, will be the brain of this robot. And then the body will be 3D printed. And it was just a prototype that I started to show in different maker fairs around the world, like in Italy, in France. And like that, I met people. Well, maybe that will come to that later. So how it become this project. But personally, it was just a tool to teach my daughter about the skills of the future, about coding, 3D printing, and artificial intelligence.
Absolutely. That is
Hmm.
really inspiring to hear, Juan. And I personally think what stands out is that when technology becomes something people can build with and
Yeah.
experiment with, it stops feeling intimidating and starts feeling empowering, like your daughter's
Yeah.
story. Which actually brings us to the next question. Uh, Today, AI is everywhere. And being a non-technical person myself, I have learned how to code with, platforms like Cloud Code and so on. Uh, so from smartphones to healthcare to finance, but for many people, it still feels like something only engineers or researchers understand. From your perspective, why is it important for children to start learning about AI and robotics much earlier in their educational journey?
I think that now, like you say, coding and things like that, they're becoming like a new language that you have to learn. When we were young, I come from Spain, we knew that we had to learn English so we can travel abroad and we can also go study in other countries. So English was the one thing that you had to learn. And now I believe that coding is another language that we have to learn. And with coding comes AI, comes new ways to prototype things. And that's why I think it's very important because it has to become like another language for us. Understanding how machines talk and how machines think, it's something that if we can learn it very early in age, and I can see now, you can see how young people interact with machines or with the phones. They interact in another fashion that we used to do because they are raised with that already.
Absolutely. And
Hmm.
I think that's a really important point. When kids can actually see technology respond to them, it suddenly becomes something they can understand rather than
Hmm.
something that is abstract. And the idea really connects to the design philosophy behind E3bot itself. Um, and it's a very fascinating concept, in all honesty. It's an educational robot built using recycled smartphones,
Hmm.
simple electronics, and 3D printed parts. And it allows students to learn robotics, coding, and even basic AI concepts. Joan, how did the idea for E3bot originally come about, and what problem were you hoping to solve in STEM education?
As I told you in the beginning, it was more like a personal project. But then in one of these maker fairs, I met someone from UNESCO, and he told me that that tool will be something maybe useful, not only for personal use like I was doing, but to teach other people and other kids all over the world. Because the thing that it was so accessible that you only need an old phone to be the brain of this robot instead of buying different sensors, different things, computing power. You had everything in these phones that we underuse many times. We have this powerful thing in our hands and we use it just to chat or to think to do it will become the brain of the robot. So UNESCO saw that potential that with this tool, we could teach things so important as 3D printing, coding, and artificial intelligence to many people. And they proposed me the challenge to make it as simple as possible, accessible, and build a curriculum around it so we can do more workshop. We can create workshops and train the trainers, train teachers all over the world to use this tool, and then they will be able to train the students. And that's how it started to become a worldwide project, we can say. Yeah, we've been over more than 35 countries now. And it's been, yeah, we teach maybe 5,000 teachers, and they have teach more than 50,000 students already with this
Wow,
tool.
wow.
Hmm.
The numbers speak for themselves. That's
Hmm.
a brilliant design philosophy, and what's particularly interesting is how this project has grown beyond just the technology. It's also about community training and collaboration
Hmm.
across regions, which is actually where Eugene's story connects beautifully. Hi, Eugene.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hi.
Eugene, I understand your journey with E3bot started during a training session in Kenya and
Mm.
eventually grew into a full partnership working on robotics education across Africa. Uh, from your experience teaching computing and working with students and educators, what made you believe that tools like E3bot could have such a meaningful impact in the society?
Yeah. So I think just a bit of a background. So for the training that you've just mentioned, Joanne came to Kenya and he was set to train a group of primary level and high school level teachers. But then it so happens that there was a slot which was available, and that was at the university. I was directing ICT at one of our local universities here and teaching at the same time. And I attended this workshop. And I mean, just the fact that we've come this far, just the fact that we've been able to walk this journey together has been fantastic. It is a testament to the power of the E3bot and the entire process. So for educators and who I was with in the room on that day, I'm an educator myself, but then the teachers themselves at the primary level and the high school level and the people who have been able to interact with in the various events that we've had across the continent, beyond the continent. It's been a beautiful journey. And I think core to it is just the practical nature of this project. There's a lot of theoretical work which takes place in our schools, but then we don't get much in terms of hands-on practice, and which is one of the most spectacular things, especially when you provide them with the robotics kit and you provide them with the knowledge and they're able to do it themselves. I think it's a full circle. It builds on top of what we are trying to do as a humanity. Obviously, we're in the space of the AI revolution. But then at the same time, our education systems might not be moving as quickly as we want them to. But through such initiatives, we're able to, at the very least, compete with the rest of the world. So it's a truly impactful project, which is why I came on board in the first place, because I could see the difference. Yeah.
That is fantastic. And I really like the idea you mentioned about hands-on learning because um, oftentimes the biggest gap in education is between theory and actually building
Yeah.
something that is practical. Also, and from what we have seen in robotics programs, once students start interacting with technology physically, their curiosity just explodes.
Mm.
I'll go back to Joan again for a little bit.
Mhm.
Joan, you have worked with thousands of teachers and students across many countries through programs like Cog Labs and other initiatives. Is there a particular classroom moment of experience where you thought, okay, this approach to teaching STEM is really working?
Yeah, to be honest, and it's true that it's something that we felt, and now Eugene can also feel it when we do it
Yeah.
together. That when we go to places, we have every time at every single workshop that we do, we have this wow moment when people, they came first a little bit skeptic about saying, well, I'm not going to build a robot. I'm not going to be able to do a machine learning model or something like that. And then there's this moment when they see that you see in their eyes that they say, okay, I'm able to do that. If I'm able to do that, I will be able to do much more complicated things. And that's exactly what we seek at every well, we don't even seek it, but it comes out at every time that we show the tool and they start to play with it. There is this moment when you see that they feel I'm able to do that, and that's exactly the same thing that I had me in like 7 years ago when I started to build this robot, and I was thinking to myself, I will not be, gonna be able, but I will try. And then there's this moment where I was able to make the robot move, to program it, to make the robot do the things that I program it to do, and then you feel that you are able to do almost everything. You feel like you're like a little god, that you're able to do little
Right.
things. And then you feel like this the people they have this, and I'm feel proud about the process because I transmit the thing I learned and the experience I had by learning it. Now I can see it when we do the workshops. I saw it, of course, with Eugene when he saw it, and he saw it with even more power than the others that he wanted to be part of the project. And that's something that I think that we can see in every workshop that we do. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. I mean, every
Mhm.
command, every data, or every prompt uh, translates into actionable items when
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
Yeah.
interact more with machines or robots.
And,
Um,
so, and most of all, when you're able to put it out of the screen, because we are very used now to do something in the screen and see the result. When you prompt something and you see an image, it's something that it's already very satisfying. But seeing something moving next to you, that it just like a microcontroller, two servo motors and two wheels, and you say, okay, go forward for 1 second and then turn left. just by seeing that and moving next to you and saying, okay, if I can do that, I can make a door open, I can make a satellite move in the space, and that's thing that going from something in the screen to something that it's hands-on and it
Right.
it moves physically, it makes all the difference.
Absolutely. Such a powerful example. Um, and I think moments like that really highlight why experiential learning is so important, which
Mhm.
brings us to something we found particularly exciting while collaborating with you. Um, One interesting part of the E3bot experience is how kids can interact with the robot through simple AI-powered interfaces. Um, Through our collaboration with you and Kaz Software, we built an application that allows children to speak to the robot, give it commands, and watch it respond, moving left, right, forward, or back. Um, it's a very simple interaction on the surface, but it gives children a first-hand experience of how AI and robotic systems respond to human input. Joan, from an educational perspective, how important are these kinds of interactive experiences in helping
Mm.
students understand technology?
Yeah, I think it makes all the difference because when you can interact with the machines the same way as you interact with a person or something, it makes you feel like you are. It's your friend, it's something that you build. You're not anymore a consumer. You become the creator of the thing, and you talk to it like if it's an entity. And I think being able, with the help of your application that you make, that now we are able to talk to the machine also. We see, of course, in the background the coding, and we explain it in an educational purpose. I think it's interesting to explain how it works in the background, but being able of having this very natural way of interfacing with your robot, it makes you, yeah, feel more close to it, and that's very important in the learning process. If you
Absolutely.
something that you feel that it belongs to you and he belong and you are closer together by the way you interface, the learning curve it's a lot easier to take.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love that example. Also, from Eugene, I'd love to get your perspective on that as well. When
Yeah.
students in workshops or classrooms see a robot respond to their voice or commands for the first time, what kind of reactions do you usually see?
Yeah. So there's usually a disconnect between these various concepts. So we have machine learning on the one side and artificial intelligence, and then we have the coding bits of it, and then we have the robots on the other side. So microcontroller, and then the phone itself, and to bring it all together and to make it do something. It is usually it's a mind-blowing moment. Let me call it that. The number of times that we see what John was describing before is called the aha moment.
Oh, yes.
The
Right.
when you see someone put it all together and make it work and bring it to life, it's such it's such a strong experience for the students. And what we've been able to achieve with Kaz has augmented this experience. So we've moved. So obviously we still have the mobile device, and we still have the robotics kit with the servo motors and the microcontroller. But then we've been able to move a step further and integrate voice commands, which now almost completes the experience. So you start with the fundamentals, and then you end up in this place where you feel like you can have a conversation with a robotic entity. And for most people, and in most cases, you find this is the very first time that they're doing it. I'll give you an example. Not too long ago, we had a workshop here in Nairobi with one of our partners, and they basically live in this realm of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and the people that we were interacting with during that session were very high level machine learning engineers. And initially, the thought was, oh, these guys already know it. They might not be able to interact as well with it. But then the experience is always the same for the kids, all the way to the people at the PhD level. The moment you build the robot for the first time, it's fantastic. The moment you build your first machine learning model, which is more often than not the first time that you're doing it, is usually a brilliant moment. So we live for those moments. We keep doing it, and we keep seeing these reactions. If it's an African child, if someone is from Saudi Arabia, if someone is from Europe, it really doesn't matter. It's always the same experience.
To infinite numbers of aha moments.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's very important. Yeah, what Eugene is saying about the reaction, it's the same wherever continent you go to, places with different cultures. And the thing is so fundamental, it's so basic on one side, because you just use a phone that everybody's using. You see that the microcontroller, it's something simple that you just plug into servo motors. So it's not like you have to spend hours on just trying to understand how the machine works. Like when you open your PC, inside you see so many cables and you say, oh, I'm never gonna. But here, everything is so simple that the reaction you get is universal, because you don't have to go through a process of learning. You just get the result with things that you use every day. And I think that was one of the goals, to get to be universal like this and very accessible, especially.
Yeah. And E3bot isn't just a tool for STEM education, it's also a tool for innovation. It's also a tool for to allow people to be able to open up their minds. And it's because when you go through this entire process, it's a very simple process. Once you've built all of these things, and it puts you in this place where you ask yourself, what more can I do for my context, for where I am from? What kind of problems exist within my ecosystem which I can solve using such technologies? And it's a brilliant thing.
It's a brilliant thing, right. We are glad as a company that we have come across UNESCO at our tour to Paris back in 2025 at Viva Tech. We are really glad we met you, Juan. You gave us a very, a very happy tour around the organization. I still remember vividly. So I'll go to my next question. If we look ahead, maybe 10 to 15 years from now, technologies like AI, robotics, and digital fabrication will probably become even more embedded in everyday life. From your perspective, how do you see STEM education evolving, and what skills do you think the next generation will need the most?
I think the main skills is that it's understanding how machine they think, and trying to see the difference between what machines can bring to us and what as humans can do that machines will not be able to do. And this is going to be the most important skill, is to make this differentiation of what I can let the machines do, what automated tasks that I'm doing every day. That machine will do better than me, so I don't have to compete with that, and I leave the machine to that. But we're going to have to concentrate on what can we bring as humans, the relations we have with each other, the curiosity also. That's why in this project, one of the most important thing is the curiosity, the human touch. Like you were saying, that when you come to Paris, we met together, then we made the tour of UNESCO. This side, of course, a machine will never replace this human relation. And maybe concentrating on mastering and understanding the technical part of artificial intelligence, robotics, and all that. We have to understand how it works. So then to be able to use it in a right way, and then concentrate us in the human relations. I think that will be
Absolutely.
the key to understand which side is for machines and which side is for human, and being able to take advantage of either side.
Absolutely. Eugene?
Yeah. It's just I worked at one of our universities as an educator for the better part of 6 years or so.
Okay.
And one of the things that was most concerning was in where we fit in to this entire ecosystem. So as John has mentioned, I think it would be very important to not only impart people with that curiosity, critical thinking, but then at the same time, the requisite skills. So the curiosity to be able to build and to be able to create in spaces that there was not before, and to be able to find challenges that exist in the ecosystem and build on top of them, see where the technology fits into all of this. But then, more important than all of it would be, again, the human perspective of it. So how do we use these technologies to help ourselves and to build our next generations? Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. Um, Very exciting to think about. I mean, because in many ways, you see, what you are doing today is helping shape how future innovators are introduced to technology. Um, so for educators today, or institutions listening our podcast who might be interested in introducing robotics or AI into their classrooms, but don't know where to begin, what would be your advice for taking the first step towards bringing these technologies into education? This is my last question.
If I can start, yeah, I think that one thing that is very curiosity is very important. And now we are very lucky to live in an era where we can have access to a lot of knowledge through internet and all that. We can see what happens all over the world. We can learn a lot from the others. So I think that we have to see exactly what our school, our institution needs, because like Eugene was saying, it's very important not only to know the tools, but also then to know what problems locally you have and these technologies they can help to solve this problem. So that's why it's very important to know the technologies available. And now we are living in an era where all these technologies are becoming very accessible, very easy to learn also. And that's I would say to be curious to see what all the spectrum of things that can be used in educational robotics and educational artificial intelligence, and use the ones that fit better the needs that you specific needs that you have.
Right. And
And I let
Eugene?
complete Eugene.
Yeah, and just as a first step, I would very strongly recommend that you visit our websites. It's www.e3bot.com. We have outlined, so you can be able to see some of the past projects that we've done, but then you can also be able to see the various steps that it takes for you to be able to go along with the program. So that's as a very basic first step. We have all of the information there. In fact, most of what we build is open source, which means we encourage our community to build on top of what we've been able to do so far.
Right.
So for any educator who's listening, just be curious, bring innovation into the classroom, bring curiosity into the classroom. That's one thing that we're lacking. We focus so much on curricula and the structure of the curricula, but then we forget to add the spice on top. And this is truly the spice on top. The programs, the robotics programs, that at least you can bring to your students to bring them into this creative, the mind of a maker. Yes. So yeah, I think that's a good first step. Yeah.
And make it fun. Yeah, I think one important thing, what we try to concentrate everything in E3bot is to make it easy and fun also for the kids. Because if you show
Mm.
a robotic kid that it's attractive for the kids and it's fun, people will learn a lot more. Kids or grown-up people, when it's something that you have fun doing it, you learn 10 times faster than if it's boring and you have to go to see. So make it fun, make it people have to be curious and just yeah enjoying and learning it's the trip of our life, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Well, th that was really nicely put, the spice on top.
Yeah, the person.
Mm.
Yeah, because
Um,
it's this spark, the spark in this curiosity, that's the key of everything and
Absolutely.
everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Uh, and we have
May I
come,
just mention one
yes.
thing before we close? There's this training which I did, which had very young students, these are 8-year-olds, and then much older students. These are university level students. And that spice that you're talking about, that spice that you've just mentioned here, is a glue that brought everyone together. It doesn't matter what age group
Mhm.
they lie
Right.
in, as long as you can
And
be able to just bring the innovation, it will always be magical for them. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Eugene. And we love it that we could collaborate and we are still working together, and we will. And we are really proud to have you by our side in this venture altogether. Um, Joan and Eugene, I really can't thank you enough, both for sharing your insights and experiences today. It is really inspiring to hear how initiatives like E3bot are helping make AI, robotics, and hands-on technology education more accessible to students around the world. And at Kaz Software, we are proud to have played a small part in supporting the mission. And it's exciting. It is really exciting to see how collaborators like this can help empower the next generation of creators and innovators. Um Thank you, everyone, to our audience for listening, and we hope this conversation gave you a glimpse of how technology and education can come together to shape the future of learning. Thank you, Eugene.
Mm,
Thank you, Nadal. Thank you
thank you.
Thank
for
you. Thank
joining
you.
today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
I'm
you,
sure we'll do.
Kaz.
Mhm.
You're welcome. You're always welcome.
Yeah,
Ah,
we'll do
fantastic.
great things together, and I'm sure that with all the new technology we can progress and keep doing. And we are example, you being here in 3 different corners of the world, being together here, and with the same direction, going with the same direction.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
3 different continents altogether.
Yeah,
Thank you, guys. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much. Bye.
thank
Ah,
you. Bye bye.
Yeah. Okay.
bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.